Rick Prokop, and welcome to Piano Power Lessons. Today we're going to examine this notion that piano technique has nothing to do with muscles or the development of muscles. So in order to understand what's really going on here and the forces that you fight when you're playing the piano, it's important that I introduce to you the concept of passive flexion. So what I'd like you to do is take your two hands and put them together like you're praying, and your palms are against each other, the underside of your fingers are touching each other, and then pull away your left hand, and you're left with a hand that looks like a pancake, basically. And the joints of the fingers are fully extended rather than flexed. And at the keyboard, full extension of the hand looks like this. Now, what I'd like you to do is take that fully extended hand, turn it over so your palm is up, and then let the fingers relax. And this is called passive flexion. Now, what's interesting in demonstrating this simple idea, we have proven that passive flexion is stronger than gravity. Otherwise, my fingers would stay open. But they're stronger than gravity and they close. So it's a pretty powerful force operating there. And the reason why the hand probably evolved to be passively flexed is to protect the fingers. For instance, if you were walking around like this all day, it'd be very easy to break a finger. And it's interesting to note, just as an aside, that the feet evolved differently. They are passively extended. So if you look at, take your socks off, take a look at one of your feet, you'll see the ball of your feet protruding like this, and the toes are actually extended out that way. And if you curl them, they'll spring back to that. And that's because you want to walk with these toes extended. So that's just an interesting point that I wanted to bring up. So now let's assume we're a little prodigy or a kid who practices a lot when they're little and their hands are small, and their hands are in this position a lot of the time. Well, how do your fingers get to that position from passive flexion? Well, there are muscles in your forearm called the extensor muscles which pull those fingers back. So for someone with a small hand, playing a chord like this, a second inversion A minor chord, would be a monstrous sized chord for them. And it would be the equivalent of me playing something like this. And look at the enormous stress that occurs to my hand as I play this. Look at the position that these fingers have to be in before I play. Before they lift, they're trying to lift back in this position. And this is what it looks like. And it's incredibly stressful. Now, I've already proven in a former video that when you're playing a passage, that the fingers have to lift off the keys before the key goes down. There has to be clearance. The finger has to lift. There has to be some clearance. It could be 1/100 of an inch, but there has to be a little clearance before any finger plays. And I should qualify that this applies to passages that are played at a medium speed and faster. So this would mean that the fingers are now hyperextending. They're going beyond full extension. And it might be just a little like, little tiny bit, pinky here, just a little bit, it's hyperextending beyond that. I had a chance to meet the great pianist Abby Simon, who was my mother-in-law's cousin. And he told me he was playing the Chopin etudes when he was 12 years old. And I assumed that he meant that he was playing all of them. So as a kid, let's see what he had to go through practicing just one of the Chopin etudes. And we're looking at the famous octave etude. This is Opus 25, number 10, or the 22nd etude out of all of them. And if I set the metronome on 60, we have this. So I was playing 6 octaves per second, and each measure has 12. So there are 26 measures times 12 notes equals 312, and we subtract 4. We subtract 2 from here and 2 from here, so we have a total of 309 octaves. We're playing each measure in 2 seconds, so 26 measures times 2 is 52 seconds to get from here to here. I'm sorry, I said 309, it's actually 308 in less than a minute. Now, it's impractical to think that he practiced it at that speed all the time, but that's in less than a minute. What if he was practicing this piece for a half an hour? Now, the job of playing the top notes of the octave is divvied up between the 4th and the 5th fingers, but the question is, how many times did he play, or did he hyperextend his thumb, his 4th and 5th fingers in the space of a half an hour? And it comes out to thousands of times. And that's just a half an hour practice session in the middle of a day where he's probably practicing 8 hours a day. And I'm sure there are other pieces he was playing with octaves and all sorts of difficult things going on. Now, I don't intend to discount the fact that prodigies have enormous talent to back up what they do. But their memories of their childhood and all the work they put into playing the piano are very often clouded just by the passage of time. So it's understandable when you ask a great virtuoso, how do you play like that? How could you possibly do that? For them to respond, I could always play like this. Now, this is not to say that there aren't people who play fantastically within 1 or 2 years. And this kind of thing happens all the time within the human experience in all different endeavors. But don't forget, even the great composer Bach said most of his achievements came through just hard work. The exact quote being, "I was obliged to be industrious. Whoever is equally industrious will succeed equally well." And with that, I leave you and hope to see you next time. Have a great day.